how you got into walking?
I think I originally got into walking, I suppose, although I can't say that I hugely enjoyed it back then, but we had a teacher at our school who was a qualified mountain leader, and he ran adventure holidays during the summer. So we had one of the few hill walking clubs of any school in Dublin, I imagine. So yeah, my brother did it, and so then I did it, and it was all right. I seem to remember just being quite knackered by the whole thing, but I think probably it was the fact that you're not letting anybody down if you don't, there's no failing to score a goal or anything like that. It's just, as long as you know where you're going, you can go there at your own pace, and so there isn't a team aspect that, or particularly competitive aspect. So I think that was, having been very bad at all forms of team sport. And I also felt there was a certain pointlessness in and I know people will say the same about hill walking, but just the whole thing of playing a game where you're kicking something around the place or chasing something, I just felt, I don't know, I always just felt it was silly. Maybe because I was never been any good at it though. Yeah. Whereas the hill walking, even though it probably doesn't, it always felt like it had a sense of purpose,
So when did it
getting
develop
somewhere
more seriously then?
It wasn't for ages. It was probably about 6 or 7 years ago, not far from here, driving towards my in-laws' place, in Derbyshire, and I couldn't even tell you exactly what road we were on, but it was a frosty December, driving through, Derbyshire moors and just looking out across this lovely rolling landscape, and just thought, we should go camping, love. We should totally go out, and I just felt this desire, this amazing urge to go a walk, and so then just decided that that's what we were going to do. And then I think that like the next holiday we went on, we just went to Scotland for a few days and stayed in a hotel for most of it, and just stayed under a tent for one night somewhere near just off the West Highland Way, just outside of Kinlochleven, and that was me. Then I just started buying books on munro bagging, and just went from knowing very little about it, like literally spelling Munro wrong when I put it into a search engine, and going, I really thought there'd be more books about munro bagging than there are. There's loads of books about Marilyn Monroe. There's hardly anything about the mountains Munros. And then realised I was spelling it incorrectly. And it's just, I just love it.
Do you think it's a bit like Radio 4, you have to grow into it?
Yeah, it's definitely not something I could have seen myself spending my 20s doing. Even if future me was to look back on my, visit myself at the age of 21 and go, dude, seriously, you're gonna love this in your 30s. You should really start getting into it now so you can be really good at it by then. I'd still go, no, I think I'd rather go out and get drunk and chase women. So
it's the missed opportunity, like at university or something like that, isn't it? You think there's a lot of places. I mean, you've got sort of the perfect opportunity, haven't you, really, now to
yeah.
cross country?
Yeah, and at university, all the people in the sports union of every stripe, whether it was the kayakers or the footballers or the hill walkers, they always had this ruddy-faced look, and were never out of a fleece. Although here he is wearing his merino, but I'm nearly 40, so I can wear outdoor wear all the time now. What age are you?
I'm 37.
37. You see, I see you there in your North Face top. Once you reach a certain age where you're merely dressing for comfort, it's fair enough to always be in a fleece, to be in a mid-layer. But when you're at university, and I eschewed the notion of these ruddy-faced types who were back then just wearing these brightly coloured soft shells. They didn't look like my type, and they probably weren't, at the time.
So munro bagging, how many are we at the moment?
The munro bagging, I'm at 75 right now, and it's I think it's just an excellent way when you decide to set a target. Munro bagging is a great way to then see areas of Scotland that you might not have bothered otherwise, and go and just climb up things that maybe you wouldn't have done otherwise. And I understand people's perspective of sometimes munro baggers will end up climbing a more boring hill and eschew a more interesting hill because it hasn't got the Munro status. And I can completely understand where people are coming from with that. But That's the bell of truth. Whenever I say something, whenever I admit something to myself, then the bell tolls. And I'll admit that there may be certain hills that I haven't as yet bothered to go up. But I plan after I do the Munros to then next do the Corbett's. That's I'm doing the Munros now while I can. There'll come a day where I won't be able to manage a Munro. I'll only be able to do a Corbett, and that's when they'll be next.
That seems a logical way of going about it.
Exactly. But then at the same time, I haven't really. There's a lot of places now that I've just sort of popped into while I've been doing stuff for like the Great Outdoors, or other. I did it. I met up with some guys when I did a thing for country walking, and I haven't really spent as much time as I maybe ought or should. Just tackling the Wainwrights, even that sort of thing. So, but I think Scotland will certainly keep me busy for the next 10 years anyway.